Princess Lilibet Diana had been christened. Why would they use a title for their children that represents an institution they loathe so much?
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
Now they want to give their kids the titles of prince and princess, even though they don't live anywhere near the royal family. They don't do any duties. They do nothing to deserve it. They live in a mansion in Montecito in California and use their own royal titles to make loads of money.
They're legally covering their backs. There's just too many unknowns. And then, of course, we have that the doctor that allegedly delivered Lily quit her practice 2 weeks after giving birth to Lily or delivering Lily. That sentence there is missing.
Do you think if Kate and William did this, do you think
they'd ever release it?
If they did,
you think Kate would release a twerking video,
use headlines
heavily
like that?
pregnant at the bedside?
Would people say things like that? And
The
would that
thing
be
is, these two will sell anything about their privacy.
And Meghan playing games that resulted in people unnecessarily questioning things. Again, every toxicity thing is result of them.
Harry and Meghan have never provided any evidence for that highly incendiary claim. It's not like they haven't had the chance to. After all, they pumped out 6 hours of self-indulgent bilge on Netflix, trashing Britain and the press for its racism.
Something isn't adding up. And this time, it's not just talk. Piers Morgan is back on this, but now he's not alone. Senior palace insiders are quietly backing what's coming out. Reports are dropping from both the UK and the US at the same time, all pointing to one thing. Something serious is happening behind Buckingham Palace doors, and it's being kept very quiet. This isn't loud drama for headlines. What's happening is controlled, calculated, almost cold. A quiet investigation is reportedly moving step by step, staying under the radar, but targeting something very specific.
Things were dealt with a bit more, you could call it aggressively, when it came to errant members of a royal family. You sent them off to war and hoped that war took care of the rest, sort of thing. And so I think in this sort of modern era, you do actually need some way to, discipline may sound like a harsh word, but to share with them, hey, you're part of this. You have to be a situation like Harry, because Harry and Meghan left in part because they thought they could just do whatever the heck they wanted. Nobody was going to tell them.
And here's the part that catches people off guard. This isn't about Harry. It's not even about Meghan. The focus is shifting straight to Archie and Lilibet, their births, their official records, their titles, and their exact place in the line of succession.
That Harry and Meghan is a bit like criticising the police force. I often criticise the Met Police. My uncle was a commissioner in the Met Police. Doesn't mean that I don't believe in having a police force. You can criticise the monarchy and say, here are the fault lines, and do it clumsily.
But why would they want to inflict on their children royal titles that make them part of the royal family worldwide and expose them to the misery and pain and trauma which Harry tells us he suffers on an hourly basis? Normally for large checks, by the way.
Now, this is where it starts getting uncomfortable. There are reports about missing signatures, questionable documents, even talk around a birth certificate that may have been altered. And the christening? Supposedly, there are no official church records at all. That detail alone is raising serious eyebrows. Over in Montecito, the pressure is said to be building. Sources claim Meghan is feeling the heat as more of this starts coming out. And it's not something that can just be ignored. And if you've been following Piers Morgan, this connects directly to what he's been saying for months. He keeps repeating one question, and no one in mainstream media seems ready to answer it. The question is simple, but sharp. If Harry and Meghan are still using their Sussex titles for every deal, every partnership, every move, while also presenting themselves as victims of that same institution, what does that really say? Piers calls it straight hypocrisy on a massive level. Those titles are tied to everything: Netflix deals, public statements, brand launches. Duke and Duchess of Sussex isn't just who they are anymore. It's part of what they're selling.
Meghan's Netflix series, released to the world this morning, is packed with, well, not really revelations, are they? It's sort of rehashed old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along. Britain is a nasty, racist hellhole where only magnificent Meghan stood up to all this and the world's biggest victim.
And now it looks like that same model is being extended to the next generation. Prince Archie, Princess Lilibet, more titles, more attention, more value attached to the name.
How does it get there, Omid? Surely you as the author, you must be furious, right? You must be demanding. Heads roll. And you want names, don't you, ironically? Omid, about who did this to you? Who besmirched your reputation as an author? I would, Omid. I'd want to know right now, especially if I was trying to convince the world that I had nothing to do with it myself, and I'd never ever put these names in writing, and maybe some lawyer had come along and told me not to. I mean, that couldn't possibly have happened because you've given us your word, and as I've established so far in this monologue, your word is your bond and should be taken as sacrosanct. Well, I'm going to cut through all this crap. I'm going to tell you the names of the 2 senior royals.
Piers said it clearly. This isn't about image, it's about money. And when he said it, people started paying attention. But here's why this is getting bigger now. This is no longer just about Harry and Meghan. The focus is shifting to what those titles actually mean for Archie and Lilibet. And that's where it gets serious, fast. Think back to the Oprah interview, the one Piers Morgan has called one of the most damaging moments for the royal family.
Hold up.
There's several conversations.
There's a conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
What?
Meghan went on global television and made a claim that instantly shocked millions. She said Archie was denied a royal title because of his skin color. The message was clear. She was pointing at the palace, suggesting a decision rooted in race. That moment spread everywhere, fast.
No racism.
No, none at all, and that was actually quite shameful, what was said at that time.
Let's remember what she said. This is what she told 50 million people around the world. Watch this.
I do recall it and regret it.
It's worth reminding.
The idea of the first member of color in this family not being titled in the same way that other grandchildren would be.
It was a complete... Hang on, Tessa. It was a complete lie.
Appalling ignorance, and also used in a very, very nasty way to attack people who couldn't answer back.
Yes.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean.
But here's where the situation gets serious. According to long-standing royal rules, going all the way back to King George V, great-grandchildren of a monarch do not automatically receive prince or princess titles. That rule applies across the board, no exceptions. Archie wasn't singled out. The rule simply didn't apply to him at that time. And Piers Morgan didn't stay quiet about it. He called it a lie, said publicly to tens of millions of people, about an institution that had no way to respond in real time. And now, that exact claim is coming back into focus in a major way. Because once something like that is said on a global stage, especially involving children and royal titles, it doesn't just disappear. It forces attention, it forces scrutiny, and right now that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Reports suggest the palace is now re-examining everything connected to Archie and Lilibet, their status, their records, every detail tied to their position. And what's being hinted at is not small. It's raising serious concern at the highest levels.
Element within the royal family that Prince William was forced to deny.
Michael, you want to jump in?
Wasn't right.
I was going to say,
and this is another example.
Yes, I totally agree.
Her Majesty, His Majesty the King has played a blinder in all this because he let it be known from the very outset that they were welcome to come, Meghan and Harry, to the coronation, putting the ball firmly in their court. If they decline, it will make them look small-minded, petty, mean-minded.
Now this is where things start moving quickly. Piers Morgan isn't the only one pushing this anymore. Reports coming out of the United States, including News Nation, are backing up what royal insiders have been quietly saying for weeks. Prince William is reportedly preparing for a major move, one that could strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. And according to multiple senior sources, it's no longer a question of if, it's when. But it doesn't stop there. The latest reports suggest this plan could extend further, to Archie and Lilibet as well. All four names are now part of the conversation, and that changes everything.
And Meghan just thinks she's too wonderful to be left out of it, and she will win because she'll go to court if she doesn't keep her title. I don't know, it's very hard. It's very hard to lose your title, but I do really hope that it's taken away. I mean, she's complained for over 6 years now. What a terrible time she had. She was nearly wanted to kill herself. She didn't want to live. Then what's she trying to get back in there somewhere? Nobody wants her. She's not going to listen to anything she's been told.
Piers Morgan has been warning about this exact scenario for months. He's been drawing a clear comparison, linking Harry and Meghan's situation to what happened with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Two figures who, in his view, leaned heavily on royal status while bringing damage to the institution. His argument is direct. You can't keep the benefits of the royal brand while stepping away from the responsibilities that come with it. That balance doesn't hold for long. And now, there's another layer building pressure. The financial side. The big deals aren't what they used to be. Netflix isn't hitting the same. The podcast is gone. New partnerships are getting smaller. A couple with shrinking income but still strongly tied to the royal name, that's a situation Prince William reportedly sees as a growing risk.
Fascinating reporting coming from News Nation, the US news channel, and its head of entertainment, Paula Frolic, who reveals Prince William to change the monarchy forever.
And it's one he may be getting ready to act on. That moment still hasn't gone away. Meghan went in front of the world and said Archie didn't get a royal title because of his skin color. The implication hit hard. She was pointing straight at the palace, suggesting a decision based on race, and millions of people believed it instantly. But here's the part that changes everything. The rules around royal titles didn't suddenly appear. They've been in place since King George V. Great-grandchildren of a monarch don't automatically become prince or princess. That rule applies to everyone. No special treatment. Archie wasn't excluded. The rule simply hadn't reached him yet, and Piers Morgan didn't hold back. He called it a lie, said to tens of millions of viewers about an institution that couldn't respond in the moment. And now that exact claim is circling back in a much bigger way.
Apparently, they invited all the royals to Lilibet's christening, but they all declined to come, as if they're all going to get on a plane and fly to California to embrace the people who've been trashing them for the last 3 years. But it looks like from the jungle drums, they have been invited to the coronation, right? Now, they're holding it out to make it all about them, make it a big drama. So do you think they're actually going to...
Because once something like that is pushed onto a global stage, especially involving race and royal status, it forces a reaction. It forces scrutiny at the highest level. And that's exactly what's happening right now behind closed doors. Sources suggest the palace has started taking a much closer look at everything tied to Archie and Lilibet. Their documents, their titles, their official standing, nothing is being skipped. And what's being hinted at is raising serious concern among insiders.
Duchess of Sussex, no longer HRH, was safely delivered of a son, and she and her child are both doing well. So back to the tradition of putting out a framed bulletin or a gilded easel outside Buckingham Palace after royal births has been going on since 1837, so it's a cool tradition. And George, Charlotte, and Louis' easels listed the doctors' names with signatures, birth weight and time, and referenced the royal family.
Now things start moving fast. Piers Morgan is no longer a lone voice on this. Reports out of the United States, including News Nation, are backing what royal watchers have been quietly saying for weeks. Prince William is reportedly preparing for a decisive move, one that could remove royal titles from Harry and Meghan. And according to multiple senior sources, this isn't a distant possibility anymore. It's being framed as a matter of timing.
And if she wants to do anything politically in America, which is on and off with her, isn't it? She can't do it with the title. So what's she worried about? Just drop out, but she won't, because she's so determined to get her own back. And that it needs someone strong like William who's going to absolutely push it through.
I absolutely agree.
But here's where it escalates. The latest reporting suggests this plan could also include Archie and Lilibet. All four names are now in the same conversation, and that shifts the entire situation. Piers Morgan has been pointing to this outcome for months. He keeps drawing a comparison, linking Harry and Meghan's path to what happened with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Two figures who, in his view, held on to royal status while creating serious problems for the institution. His argument is simple and sharp. You can't keep the royal brand as a shield while stepping away from the role itself. That balance doesn't last forever.
But nobody set out to destroy you. You destroyed yourselves in this country with your ludicrous, hypocritical behaviour. The truth be told, what you just said is complete and utter garbage by the British media, the public, and the royal family that they've all now abandoned. That's the truth.
And then there's the financial pressure building in the background. The major deals aren't hitting like before. Netflix isn't what it was. The podcast is gone. New agreements are getting smaller, quieter. A couple with shrinking income but strong reliance on the royal name, that's being seen as a growing risk. And it's exactly the kind of situation Prince William reportedly isn't willing to ignore. At the same time, there are reports that this wouldn't just target Harry and Meghan alone. By including others like Beatrice and Eugenie in broader changes, it becomes less personal and more of a clear rule. The idea being pushed is straightforward. If you're not a full-time working royal, you don't need a royal title. Others have already built successful lives without them, and that example is now part of the conversation.
They kept telling the world how ghastly the monarchy is. It's a prison camp. All the royals want to get away from it, but they can't because they're trapped in the world of titles and privilege. And now they want to give their kids the titles of prince and princess, even though they don't live anywhere near the royal family. They don't do any duties. They do nothing to deserve it. They live in a mansion in Montecito in California.
Then comes the detail that's getting people talking even more. Reports claim Meghan has considered legal action, saying she would challenge any move to remove the titles. That reaction alone raised eyebrows. And Piers Morgan's response was exactly what many expected. What court would even handle that? Titles come from the Crown, and the Crown has the authority to take them back. There's no court in the UK or the US that can force that decision to be reversed. The fact that legal action is even being mentioned has sparked debate about how serious and how tense things have become behind the scenes. Because this is no longer just about public image. It's about control, structure, and authority. And now we reach the part that's sending real shockwaves through royal circles.
Markle gave birth to Lily, because this is what's called plausible deniability. They want to be able to say, hey, we never claimed that she was our daughter in that announcement. They're legally covering their backs. There's just too many unknowns. And then, of course, we have that the doctor that allegedly delivered Lily quit her practice 2 weeks after giving birth to Lily or delivering Lily. That sentence there is missing. That is a vital sentence that Meghan Markle chose not to put in an official statement because she knows she would get into a lot of legal trouble and she needed plausible deniability.
Beyond the headlines, beyond the arguments, something much quieter, but far more serious, is reportedly happening. Senior advisors at Buckingham Palace have opened what's being described as an internal verification review. And it's focused directly on Archie and Lilibet, their births, their documentation, and their official standing in relation to the crown. Piers Morgan has been very clear about what that signals. The palace doesn't move like this without reason. The monarchy can handle scandal, but uncertainty around lineage or official records is a much deeper issue, because at its core, the entire system depends on clarity. Bloodline, documentation, legitimacy, those aren't small details, they're the foundation. And according to current reports, questions in those areas are no longer being brushed aside. It starts with something very specific, Archie's birth certificate, a key legal document for anyone in the line of succession. It's supposed to be clear, fixed, and consistent.
It's a case about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump. The fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince.
But reports point out that it was changed months after his birth. Meghan's full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, was removed. In its place, only her royal title appeared, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. No first name, no surname, just the title.
I've got the breaking royal celebrity news. Meghan Markle has changed her name on her son's birth certificate. On the original birth certificate, registered on May 17, 2019, the Duchess gave her name as Rachel Meghan, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Oh, that's quite a name.
Piers Morgan zeroes in on something most people don't even think about, but once you hear it, it sticks. In royal bureaucracy, changes like this almost never happen quietly. Every edit leaves a trail. Someone requests it, someone signs off, someone records it. That's how the system works. But when investigators reportedly tried to trace this specific change, the explanations didn't line up. Meghan's team pointed one way, saying the palace asked for it. Palace insiders pushed back, saying the request came from Meghan's side. Two completely different versions, no clear agreement, and no clean paper trail. Just a changed document and a lot of unanswered questions. Then there's the birth announcement, and this is where things start to look even more unusual. Royal births normally follow a strict, almost scripted process. Confirmation, named doctors, official statement, public notice. It's structured for a reason, and it's always been consistent. But with Archie, that pattern didn't hold.
With either Archie or Lily, and it needs to happen. They need to prove that those children, Meghan and Harry, are not entitled to privacy in this matter. And their privacy is trumped by our right to know that no bastard is going to sit on the throne of this.
The public was told Meghan had gone into labor after Archie had already been born. Hours passed with confusion. No clear timeline, no hospital steps confirmed, no verified witnesses stepping forward. And here's a detail Piers Morgan keeps coming back to. The announcement didn't include signatures from the attending doctors, something that was present for George, Charlotte, and Louis. Those signatures aren't just tradition, they serve a purpose. They exist to verify the birth in a formal, undeniable way. Without them, questions naturally follow, and calling it privacy doesn't fully explain that gap.
The result of the bizarre conduct of a cheap hustler and her dope of a husband is entirely unnecessary and should be cleared up. There is no justifiable reason why the British public should have to put up with a doubtful situation when it has been generally accepted practice since 1688 that all royal births should be publicly attested so that there can be no question as to the entitlement of an infant to his or her place in the line of succession.
Now shift to Lilibet, because this is where attention is reportedly intensifying. Her birth happened in California, and everything around it was handled privately through Harry and Meghan's team. No British medical staff, no palace announcement, no official display outside Buckingham Palace. For a celebrity child, that's completely normal. But for someone connected to the British line of succession, it breaks away from centuries of royal protocol. And that's exactly why it's being looked at so closely now. And then comes the detail that's raising the most concern. When palace advisors reportedly checked Church of England records linked to Lilibet's christening in California, they couldn't find confirmation. No entry, no registry record, no acknowledgement from church officials. Piers Morgan is very direct on this point. A royal christening isn't just symbolic, it's a formal act that connects a royal child to the Church of England, which is deeply tied to the monarchy itself. Without that official record, the situation becomes more than just unclear. It raises serious questions about how complete that connection really is, and why key documentation appears to be missing. What's happening behind the scenes right now doesn't match the polished, picture-perfect image coming out of Montecito. On social media, everything looks calm, controlled, successful.
I do now, yeah. I think because it's their currency, isn't it? They've made an awful lot of money, and again, it's their tax by having that association with the royal family.
It's the cachet and cash.
You mentioned sort of, the favoured journalists that they were briefing in the first instance that they weren't going to have titles, and now there's another screeching U-turn. We already had one of the U-turns about the racism.
But reports suggest the real mood is very different. Piers Morgan keeps coming back to one core point, and he's saying it more directly than ever. Meghan's entire public image right now, the lifestyle brand, the deals, the carefully shaped narrative, stands on one key thing: the connection to the British royal family. That's the base holding everything up. Take away the royal link through the children, and that image starts to weaken. Remove the titles completely, and the whole structure starts to fall apart. That's how dependent it all is on that one connection.
Another lie. And by the way, Meghan, if you don't like me calling you a liar, just sue me, and we'll go through all this in court.
Piers puts it in blunt terms. Without Duke and Duchess of Sussex attached to every deal, every project, every public move, what's left? Just a couple who stepped away from the royal family and then spent years publicly criticizing it while building business deals around that story. That's not a strong brand. It's a complicated narrative people start to question. And when it comes to Harry, there's another layer that often gets overlooked. Piers points out that Harry genuinely believed something important, that even living in California, even after stepping back, his children would always carry that royal identity with them, that it was permanent, untouchable, something that couldn't be taken away. But now, reports suggest reality is hitting differently. There are claims he's been trying to reach out to senior royals and not getting responses. Because when the palace shifts into constitutional matters, emotions don't lead the process. Procedure does. The review moves forward regardless of personal feelings, and there's very little room to influence it once it starts. Piers Morgan also directs strong criticism at King Charles. In his view, there were multiple chances to act earlier, and each time, no major action was taken. Not after the Oprah interview, not after the Netflix series, not after the book Spare. Each moment passed without a decisive response.
2 years of the royal family are a bunch of racists flying around the world. I was in America through a lot of that period, and they all believed it because it had appeared on Oprah. Then he says, I never meant to say anything about racism. What are you all talking about? It's the beastly media. Well, now Harry and Meghan's lick-spittle client journalist Omid Scobie, the man who lied about his age, said he was 33 when in fact he was 38, a bit older now.
And according to Piers, that hesitation didn't solve anything. It delayed a bigger issue, one that has now fully arrived, and it's no longer sitting with Charles. It's moving toward Prince William. William, as Piers frames it, sees the situation clearly. He's watched it unfold step by step, and he understands what's at stake. Not just now, but for the future of the monarchy. Because this isn't only about Harry and Meghan anymore. It's about stability, structure, and what gets passed down next. George, Charlotte, and Louis are part of that future, and the decisions made now will shape what they inherit.
For someone to tell him what to do when he's been in this work for a very long time and waited a very long time while his mother was doing it, and she has nothing to.
So the big question becomes, where does this go from here? According to those following the palace review closely, there are now 3 possible outcomes being considered for Archie and Lilibet's royal status. Right now, there are 3 paths being quietly discussed, and each one leads to a very different outcome. The first is subtle, almost invisible. The titles stay on paper, but they stop being actively recognized. No announcements, no headlines, just a slow fade into the background until they barely hold any real weight. The second is even more controlled. No public statement, no explanation. Names simply disappear from official records over time. No spotlight, no noise, just a quiet shift into private life, completely outside the royal structure. And then there's the third option. The one Piers Morgan believes is now seriously being considered. Full removal. If this review can't clearly confirm that royal protocols and lineage standards were properly followed, the Crown has the authority to act. No spectacle, no emotion, just a decision made to protect the institution and its foundation. Piers Morgan's view hasn't changed, but now it carries more impact than ever. The Crown endures. Individuals don't. Harry and Meghan built everything around royal status, around that connection, around that image. But in the end, the palace decides what stays and what doesn't. And all it takes is one decision, one signature to change everything they've built in California. So now the question is yours. Should the palace make this public or keep it behind closed doors? If you want to follow how this unfolds, you can subscribe. But either way, this story is far from over.